good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Good vibes to you. Welcome to season 3, episode 10 of What Did Adam Say? Um, Usually I say I'm very excited to talk with my guest tonight, and tonight I don't have a guest. And it's going to be a very different podcast in the sense that we are going to be talking about mental health. It's very important, and especially as a man, it's not something that's talked about enough. So today we're going to talk about mental health and depression, and we're going to keep it very, very, very real. So share this with your friends. I'm going to play that intro music real quick so I can share it out to everywhere, and I will be right back. Let's get into it.
Wait, what am I doing? Created a movement, won't ruin what you are pursuing. But I wake up every morning, never yawning, cause I wake up with the intent to make the day my bitch. And I don't need it, you talking, so just shut your lips. Cause I'ma make it, yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma make it, I'ma make it. Lord have mercy, I'ma make it. I wake up with the intent to make the day my bitch. And I don't need it, you talking, so just shut your lips. I'ma make it, yeah, I'ma make it, I'ma make it, I'ma make it. Lord have mercy, I'ma make it. This shit is crazy, right? This shit is crazy.
This is crazy. The end of that song is perfect for how this year has been for a lot of people, and I'm I'm in there with y'all. I'm in there with y'all, and I started to notice that I was falling into some patterns of old, and when I say patterns of old, I'll have to tell you about myself in order to make that make sense. Um, I'm just sharing everything right now to all the groups and whatnot. If y'all can do that as well. When you comment, your screens will pop up on air if you'd like them to. Just let me know, and we can do the damn thing. Um, this is a tough one for me because I'm very reserved in my feelings for like my own feelings. I've always been very good at helping other people, but I've never been very good at helping myself. And I feel as if I have even taken on other people's burden of them being sad or what have you, whatever is going on with them, pretty much my whole life. That's been like the story of my life. So let me take you back to the beginning. I was born in 1990. Hey, Gene. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I was born in 1990 to mom and dad that didn't particularly love each other, but they stayed together because they had me. And they stayed together for a few more years until they had another child, and then they decided to split up. So my parents split up when I was 5 years old. And around that time, I had some very traumatic things happen in my life. One of them, I don't think I'm going to talk about on here, but my album that's coming out in March on my birthday, March 18th, talks a little bit about it, and I'll be talking about it more then. It's basically I basically set a ticking time bomb for myself. Like, this is your timeline. You have to talk about this. Figure it out by then. But with skipping that part, I will say that my Uncle John passed away when I was 6 years old, and that was on top of my parents splitting. That was devastating to me as a child. He was the connector. You know how families always have like that one or two people that connect the whole family. For me, it was my Uncle John, my Nana, and my cousin Carrie. Those were the three connectors in my family. Uncle John, he died when I was young. He died on a motorcycle accident. He took prescription pills that he was prescribed. I believe they were painkillers. I can't remember exactly what they were. And he got into a motorcycle accident and passed away. um, as a kid that age, I didn't mourn. I didn't mourn at all. I was more worried about my mom. I was more worried about my mom. I didn't mourn for months until being raised in the Native American culture. I was coming back from a powwow one night, and my uncle like just hugged me goodbye, and he could tell I was just feeling off, and he just continued to hug me like, no, 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 let it out, like you are strong, let it out. This does not mean you're weak. And I did. I cried one time, over one of the most important people in my life. Um, Soon after that, about a year and a half, 2 years after that, my sister, who was only one and a half, two at the time, maybe, and I got taken from my mother for some bullshit reasons, honestly. And my dad was faced with an ultimatum: either you take your kids now, or they go into foster homes. And my brother was unfortunately not as lucky. My half brother is a different dad. He ended up in foster homes because his father wasn't quite there at the time. So I got split up from my best friend at the time, my older brother, and it put me into depression at a very young age. Very young. I would say by 6 years old, I can remember feeling anxiety and depression and things that I hope most 6 year olds don't feel. And that never really changed because I never talked to anybody about it. When that whole thing happened, when we got taken away from my mother, um, I got put through a lot of DCF and DSS counselors, and I just went zip. Like I knew my mom was innocent. The stuff they were saying was so untrue, and they weren't listening to me. So once I decided that they weren't going to listen to me, I stopped talking. I still do that to this day. When people stop listening to me, I'll just stop talking and just be like, okay, 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 because I just don't waste my breath. I was like that young. I had to grow up young. Um, so I never talked to anybody about everything that was going on and all the catastrophic things that were happening in my life at a young age, and I let them spiral out of control. um, I ended up moving back with my mom when I was 11. She cleared her name of all the stuff because it wasn't true. And unfortunately, she was married to somebody who didn't really like me. I was too emotional for his liking. So he was very abusive to me, more so mentally than physically. We only really got physical with each other like 2 or 3 times. And I mean, there were a lot of times he was a Vietnam Marine, and when he would yell at me when I was like 10 and 11 years old, he would step on my feet and pin me against my back against the wall, step on my feet so I can't move, and scream in my face like he's a drill instructor in Vietnam, like in boot camp in Vietnam. He was still just so stuck on that mindset of being a Marine, and he used to tell me that I have no reason to cry. I'm being a pussy. He saw his friend's head blown off in front of me, so why am I crying? He's not crying. Like that's what I kind of had to deal with from like age 11 until I was 18. um, when I was 21, almost 22, my mom's boyfriend at the time, Joe, unfortunately hung himself, and I was very close with him. We worked together for about 6 months, full time, like 60 hours a week. Him and I, that's it. We come home and bullshit because I lived with them at the time. And it hurt me a lot, and like a month and a half after that, my grandmother passed away, and it might have been like 2 months, and then I decided to seek help because I was starting to feel a type of way. I was starting to feel like interesting. Joe just killed himself. Like, I wonder what that's like, at 20, 21, 22 years old at this point when I'm having these thoughts. And I ended up getting to the point where I put a gun to my head, a loaded gun to my head, and in 2013, and I decided not to pull the trigger. Thank God. Um, that night I also walked on train tracks, very active train tracks, and it was a dark day in my life, and I just knew something had to change, and that thought lingered with me for like 3 years after that, and I started really working on self help in when I was in 2015 when I was 25, 14 maybe. The idea of self help came into my head in 2014 when my son was born, and I just didn't really act on it until I met my fiance now in 2015, and she challenged me to the core of who I was in a good way. She pushed me to ways to levels that I didn't know I could go to. I did the same for her. We ended up by our let's see, March, April, May. 3 months into dating, we moved across the country together, just her and I, to my best friend's house with him and his wife. Who we were lucky that they had jobs lined up for us and all this stuff, and being out there making more money than I've ever made, being in a job position that I never thought I could have had, and being with my fiance Courtney, it really, all of that together really showed me what happiness almost was like. As I mentioned, my son, I had a son in 2014 that was not with my fiance now. So I left my son here essentially in 2015 because I wasn't really allowed to see him at the time. Him and his mother and I didn't get along. We were just very much both letting our egos get in the way of our the best interest of our child. Um, so I started working on me in 2015 because of her. She pushed me. All these job promotions happened, and then in 2016, I ended up moving back to Massachusetts because I had built up my resume enough to get this almost the same exact job that I had in Colorado, and I figured it would all be good. Everything's good, and then I asked for a raise 6 months into that job, and they got rid of my whole position. So it forced me to go deeper, right? But I was never unhappy about losing my. Well, that's a lie. Okay, I was probably unhappy for like 4 days. And then I realized I could get unemployment, so I realized I was gonna get paid for another 6 months after I left there. So I was okay with it at that point, and I started building my own thing in 2017, March of 2017 to be exact. And everything seemed to just take off from there. It just seemed to be like dum 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 dum. Started doing all these conventions, doing all this media work, and it just seemed like everything was moving in the right direction, and it was. And then it's easy to not fall into the bad habits of depression when you're happy. When you're happy. Now, going into 2020, I had already worked myself ragged for 3 years straight. Basically, like 80 hours, sometimes more, work weeks, hardly seeing my fiance, hardly seeing my baby, picking up slack for people that didn't want to work in my business. And I had run myself ragged going into 2020, but we had a lot of new things going on, so I just kept going. I kept pushing. January, amazing. 2020, we were able to make a fat chunk payment to our only investor. It was like 12% of what we owed him. February, same thing. Killed it, crushed it. Amazing month. able to make another fat chunk payment to our investor. Started hearing rumblings of a shutdown. Excuse me, because of Corona. And then it happened. The mall shut down. Our bread and butter. And for 3 or 4 days, because I still was fighting it. Mind you, I'm exhausted. This is mid-March at this point. I was exhausted January 1st. And no signs of slowing up at all. At all. At all. At all. Which is okay. I like working. I'm not complaining about the workload, but it's to preface everything that's going on. We pushed through. We managed to get the PPP loan. We paid our employees. We kept our employees. Around May, we started talking about possibly merging into another business. And because of, and I didn't even really realize it at the time, because of my mind just not being fully right. Like I just was exhausted, like I said, crazy up to get chopped down at the knees, and then it just feels like you're barely clinging on for dear life. Tensions get high, and judgment can sometimes get clouded. And I was excited about it until I opened the books, so to say. I was going to say the hood. I don't know why they said the books. But it's like you look at the car and it looks beautiful on the outside. It's everything you've ever wanted, and then you open the hood and it's missing the engine. And that's what it was kind of like. And I pulled back. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Mind you, we hadn't signed anything. We had just been working through it for, it was a long time. 3 months. 4 months, maybe even. Long time. And I said, I don't want to do it unless this happens. And it was a protection clause. That said, we're going to work together for a year, and if it doesn't work out, if one person doesn't like it, this all goes back to the way it was, and we figure it out from there. That was pretty much the end. So, it was a month and a half of just trying to convince me to change my mind. I'm wrong. That was a common thing that was said. I'm wrong. I'm not right. You're not thinking right. I was very open with them. I told them, I was having some depression again, and I was really tired, but I was the only one doing the work. And I would tell them this because I just wanted help. Not mental help. Physical help. And I just began to get more exhausted. This past summer was a drought. Complete crop failure. I spent July and August in 100-degree weather by myself for 95% of it in drought conditions, planting 20,000 seeds that never sprouted because we just did not have the right setup at that time. Did I say that was going to happen? And did I say what we needed to get? Yeah. That's besides the point. All these things start accumulating, and then I realized my business is gone. My partner and I don't want to work together anymore. This is about September when I come to this realization, 2020. If it were not for my employees, I probably would have fallen into the bad patterns a little right about then. Because that was when I was like, oh my God, dude. What the fuck? Like the business that I just worked on for all this time, gone. $10,000 worth of possessions not in my hands. Still not in my hands, but that's besides the point. Um, October, I had to rebrand, which was just a cover up for the fact that I did not want to tell people this because it sucks. It does suck. It sucks to talk to you. There's a lot of details left out too. A lot of details, but that again is besides the point. This is just accumulating up to this point. October hits, I get everything rebranded, and I'm just churning. I feel like I'm just treading water. This is around once I knew that I had everything set up so my employees could get paid. I was barely scraping by profit margin wise. Once I had everything set up for my employees, though, this is when I started falling into bad patterns again. Started eating Auntie Annie's pretzels every time I went to the mall. Delicious, but disgusting. Every time I eat it, I feel like I'm falling asleep 10 minutes later. You can tell it's not good for you. It's so good, though. Started eating a lot more pizza. Started staying up very late, not doing productive things, just playing video games. Started not doing my podcasts. Started arguing with people online. Started scrolling through Facebook instead of spending time with my family. Started doing a lot of stupid things when I look back just a couple of months ago, just slipping into old patterns of it's like feeling bad for myself almost, my depression. It's like, well, we're depressed, so we're not going to do anything to help us get out of this. We're just going to keep being depressed because that's what we are, right? Like that's kind of what my mind does when I'm depressed. It's like I'll sit there and look at my shoes and it's like I should put on my shoes and go play outside with the kids. And then just start scrolling. And it's just like and then it's pressure from the fiance and you don't want to tell her like I'm feeling really depressed. And this is what my depression does. It's just so then you just start arguing and it just becomes it starts trickling and all it starts snowballing, I should say. And I ended up in the hospital in November, I think it was, October, something like that, with this weird like pain in my groin and they never found anything and it just kind of was like the light bulb of it had to be November because it was later on. It was kind of like a little light bulb of like, hello, anybody in there? And I had to start taking care of myself again. So I pushed through Christmas because it's a busy season. And I took a break for the first time in what's it, 2021? Realistically, first time since like 2012. Just took a break. For the first couple weeks of this year, I just took a break. I needed it. It was important. 9 days ago, well, about 2 weeks ago, what's today? 20th. Yeah. So about a week into the year, after taking it real slow, spending a lot of time with the family, but still feeling just out of it. I felt my depression. I felt it. I couldn't escape it. I couldn't avoid it. I couldn't stop it. It just was there. Then So the rest was like the first part, but I didn't feel rested still. My mind, it just didn't allow me to rest. Then I bought some supplements, all organic stuff. Like one of them's like a 8 mushroom blend. The other one's like a superfood blend. Has so much stuff in it. I couldn't even begin to list it. All good stuff. All stuff I know what it is. I it's a lot right now. And then there's stuff called quercetin. Day one of taking that. This was 9 days ago. Day one of taking that. It was like a giant realization of how much I let myself be in self-loathing from depression for like 3 months. And it wasn't a good realization. It was like a, ugh, why do I do this? Why am I the way I am? Why? You begin to ask yourself these kinds of questions when you've looked deep in within yourself, because the biggest enemy can be yourself if you let it. By day 3, my fiance noticed difference. She said I was more patient with the kids. Um, she said a couple other things I can't remember, but all good things. All good things, all good things. And then I was like, okay, fuck, I haven't been drinking water. So it's like summer. It's like I farm, right? And I'll drink all the water in the world. I'll drink a gallon and a half of water while I'm farming every day. Wintertime comes, I become more of a sales guy. I'm just a manager. I'm not actually selling. I'm just training, managing, listening, inventory, manufacturing. It's like nothing really physical. And I started drinking more water. Today's day 9. I feel like I'm so clear-headed right now. I feel like I'm so clear-headed right now. For the first time in probably what feels like a couple years, I really let my judgment get clouded, and I kind of let people almost pull a fast one on me there for a second, because I was down. But this is what I wanted to talk about, because most people do not. I do not. Like that's the vague version. If you're my friend and you want to know more, I'm more than happy to tell you more. But all that to say, the most important thing you can do is just recognize the cycle that you're in. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a trained psychologist. I'm just a regular dude. I just know, for me, when I stop trying, bad shit happens. I have to continually try with my mental health. Just how it is. Some people, like you watching or listening, I'm sure, might agree or relate to, have been through a lot of bad shit. And the bad shit has made it so your mind just isn't completely right. I also fell when I was like 4 years old off the top bunk head first. And I think that has partial to blame for my brain and anxiety and depression and everything. But I just think most people feel like, and I get in this trap too, of feeling like they're alone in their depression. They feel like they're completely alone. Like my fiance is right there, but I feel completely alone, right? Like, why? Why does depression do that? Rick Naya, what's up, my brother? Talking about some mental health today. Important shit. You know what I mean? Self care. Lots of good mushrooms and psychedelic mushrooms. I'm almost ready to get there with the, you know, that's the other thing. In the beginning of 2019, I started messing around a little bit with microdosing. And it was phenomenal for my mental health and my anxiety and my depression. Gene, yes, I can always tell when it's happening too. It's crazy. But yeah, I was microdosing, and with the shutdown, when I'm microdosing, when I'm in that state of mind, I do not like to be in small rooms or realistically indoors at all. I found that big convention halls I'm okay, but I don't like to be inside my house or my room or anything like that. I need to be outside. So I just kind of stopped doing them because of quarantine. And I'm waiting for that to lift up so I can start microdosing again. But in the meantime, I take some non psychedelic mushrooms and they help almost as well. You know, I think adding the psilocybin would bump it up even a little bit more. And I'm excited because there's actually a city in Massachusetts that's decriminalized it. So, Cambridge, maybe? I'll have to double check that. I'm excited to go visit whatever city that is, though. um, this, too, mental health, cannabis. Cannabis has been a lifesaver for my mental health. It has been something that really just kind of takes the edge off. It really makes it so that I can control my depression and kind of like where my thoughts and my anxiety leads. Because a lot of the times my thoughts and anxiety is what fucks me up, right? It's like we get trapped in our own mind, this little cycle of telling ourselves things that either are hypothetical situations in our heads or different running back different things like that you could have said differently. It's all not good. And all I got to say is we need to normalize talking about mental health because so many of us are suffering, especially with all the politics stuff going on. People are so in love with their candidate that a lot of people are probably going through it right now. There's probably some Trump supporters that really believed that this guy was gonna somehow be Superman and be Jesus Christ or the Lord and Savior of the universe. And today they saw that that wasn't true. He's just a man. He got voted out. And there's a lot of people that are probably really messed up about that because they've become in love with this man. And if another jerk gets into office after Biden, it'll be the same thing there. And I just feel like both sides are so divided right now, and it's not helping anybody's mental health. Blaming one side or the other is kind of ridiculous in my mind. I think the leaders should have more blame than the people. Attitude reflects leadership, right? That's a famous line from Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership. So true. And if you have poor leadership, what do you think your attitude towards them is going to be like? It's going to be like, fuck you. Why do I want to work for you? So, I don't know. I don't know why I went on a tangent with politics. I know it's being divisive and not helping people's mental health. But, whoa. I just heard like an alien, like, flange in my left headphone. That was weird. Talking about the government. They're listening. They just tapped in, right? But all that to say, I'm glad that nobody has said that they're struggling really bad with it on my chat. If you are and you are listening or watching after this and want to talk to somebody, reach out. But I just want to come on here. Oh shit! Might have dropped my joint. We're all good. I want to come on here and just talk about it because that's part of normalizing mental health. Nobody talks about it enough. Everybody just says they're good. Everybody just says nothing's bothering them. Or they might say they have anxiety or depression, but there's so many different kinds of anxiety and depression I've noticed talking with people and especially customers and whatnot. So it's not at all. Yeah, people do get super triggered. But it's unsure times. It's unsure times. I wasn't sure what the hell was gonna happen today. I had no clue. I had no clue, and it happened. It was just a normal day. I don't know. I don't really know how to wrap this up. I thought there would be maybe more people in here. Maybe not. It's okay. We're just talking about mental health. Next week, I invited my buddy Casher on because he has an album coming out on the 29th of January called House of Roses, and it's super fire. If he wasn't gonna be so mad, I would totally just play you guys a snippet, but I won't do that. I won't do that. But uh, I'm I'm just trying to think of a good way to wrap this up to leave you guys with good advice. Listen, it is a very important topic to talk about, and someone like myself, I talk about it with other people, their mental health, all the time. Not so much recently because I'm not directly in the sales uh, line much anymore. I have amazing saleswomen for that. Um, Forgot where I was going with that. This joint, man, this early skunk got me a little high. Yeah, it's hard to talk about mental health. And I don't know why that it's implanted in our head that it has to be hard to talk about. It shouldn't really be that hard to talk about. You know, I'm really trying to learn to be better about speaking about my mental health issues and speaking about what caused them initially growing up, having them young, because you don't be 5, 6 years old with anxiety and depression just being a normal kid most of the time. The other thing I want to say about mental health, and this might sound weird, is your diet has a lot to do with your mental health. When your diet is poor, you know how I was saying I was eating all those Auntie Annie's pretzels and pizza, Taco Bell, oh, black bean crunch wrap supreme. Don't need it anymore because my fiance made homemade ones that were even better than Taco Bell ones. But when you eat like shit, your body starts acting like shit. It's just what happens. If you eat like shit, your body acts like shit. If you feed your body good food that nourishes you and balances your body and gives it nutrition, your mental health will actually be better off. Most of your serotonin is actually uh, serotonin. I feel like I'm using the wrong word. That fucking joint got me stoned. Most of your serotonin, I think I am using the right word. I'm not gonna doubt myself. Is made in your gut, and we take all of these pills and everything to restore our serotonin. But realistically, you gotta restore your gut flora by having a good diet, good probiotics, good vitamins, good balance. We're missing a lot of things in our diet. Unfortunately, a lot of our food has been genetically modified to just mass produce, and it's lost a lot of its nutritional value because of that. Diet. When I fall off the like I'm going on. "Hey, he's vegetarian. He's got to fucking tell everybody." I'm going on 5 years of being vegetarian in May, and I don't say that to preach. I actually have grown to not really care if you eat meat or not. It's your own choice. I've actually thought about hunting. I've thought about it because it's sustainable. You don't have to kill a lot of animals. It's very healthy. No hormones. All that bullshit that I don't like. But I eat a pretty healthy diet. Like we eat a pretty whole foods plant based diet. That's important. A lot of like vegans and stuff eat this impossible burger and all this other shit all the time. It's okay to have once in a while. Like we just had like these like ch- uh, cheddar corn chicken nugget thingies. Gotta have it once in a while. It just you gotta do it. And then invest in good supplements. Like I was just saying that actually earlier. Because of supplements, I'm taking a mushroom supplement, quercetin, and a superfood supplement, and then my daily vitamins now. And my diet has been much better. And I've been drinking a lot more water, drinking less coffee. All those things, because I'm balancing my diet, have led to better mental health, and that's what's important to note. You could have, I have the shittiest health insurance. I can't do anything basically without a referral. I haven't had a primary care since 2009. I don't want one. So I have to learn how to take care of myself and my own mental health. Luckily, I have a lot of good nurses and doctors in the cannabis space around me that believe in a deeper meaning of health than a lot of doctors do. It's a great thing, and it's something that I feel like I take for granted sometimes because I just have so much access to doctors and nurses that are just amazing. Um, yeah, I eat mostly vegan. I eat mostly, well, I guess not mostly. Yeah, I guess mostly. I don't know. I see this is the problem I have with all this, right? People that are against veganism think I'm a vegan just because I don't eat meat. That's annoying. But and the same token, vegans don't think I'm good enough because I don't eat vegan. A lot, not all of them. Well, the militant ones, I should say, on both sides. Um, so I don't care. I say I'm veg. That's what I like to say all the time. Um, I say I'm veg because I don't care, dude. I eat fish in the summer because I live in New England. We got the harbor guy. We got fish right there. We just go on the boat, guy, cast it out, catch fucking fish. So why would I not eat it? It's nice and fresh, and but that's basically it. Probably like I would say a handful of times through the summer because I don't know. It's just a delicacy. And if people just limited their meat consumption, it would be better for the planet and everything too. But and you wouldn't be having all these hormones and all this crap that affects your mental health. And I don't even want to get into like fast food meats. That's barely even food. That's not doing anything good for your mental health. That's hurting your mental health, if anything. Um, but yeah, on a tangent about diet, I almost forgot about that because diet, I think, is just as is the most important. I was gonna say just as important as all these like supplements and all this stuff, but it's more important, I think. And water, just you detox. You know, like we're putting a lot of junk in our body. We got to detox this shit out of us. Drink a lot of water, and yeah, take care of yourselves more, folks, and talk more about mental health because we need to. We need to absolutely talk more about mental health. It's a taboo subject for no fucking good reason. It's time. It's 2021, as a man, I'm saying that people need to talk about this more. I try to get my friends to talk about what's bothering them. Oh yeah, Gene, fasting. Fasting is also very good for your diet and cleansing your body out, and because that's part of detoxing. You got to cleanse all the crap out and put the good stuff in, and keep doing that until the bad stuff's gone. Takes a little bit. It's not just gonna happen overnight. You're like, I've been eating vegetarian for a month. Why isn't anything feeling good? Well, you know. Yeah, sugar too. No processed foods, no sugar. Well, not no, but limited processed foods, limited sugar, none if possible. And yeah, take care of yourselves, folks. I know I'm making a better effort at taking care of my mental health because a lot of people depend on me. My fiance, my daughter, my son, my employees, and I gotta make it happen. I gotta make it happen. It ain't nothing to it but to do it, and it's time to get my mind right, and I feel great. I'm 9 days in. I'd say 5 days of feeling great, and I don't see that stopping because I'm just continuing to do the mental health things I need to do. I'm about to get off of here and lay on this thing. If you don't know what this is, thank you, Gene. My daughter is a beauty. If you don't know what this is a Shakti mat. Shakti. Shakti mat. So it's acupressure. These little pinprick things, you lay on them, and it basically increases circulation to your hips, lower back, upper back, and neck and shoulders, and helps decrease pain and inflammation. So yet another thing I'm doing. I'm just trying to do everything because yes, Gene, they do hurt. They do hurt. They do hurt. But they hurt so good. I've fallen asleep 3 times on it. Fun fact. So they can't hurt that bad. I mean, I'm a freak of nature, and I have a high pain tolerance. Um, okay. I don't know what you were talking about in my chat, but I will not read that out loud. But yeah. So take care of yourself, folks. Check on your mental health. We all need to take a deeper look at our mental health. Andrea, this Whoop thing is pretty great for our mental health, sort of. Don't obsess over it. I try not to, but it's good for monitoring our health. I don't want to pop a hole somewhere. Oh, no, you won't pop a hole. That's funny. Nah, I fell, like I said, I fell asleep on it. I fell asleep on it. So I was on it for 45 minutes one time. I was on it for over an hour the second time, and then I fell asleep real quick the third time that I fell asleep on it. So I like it. I love my Shakti mat. It's really awesome, and I love my Whoop strap too. When are you gonna sponsor me, Whoop? I've only been shouting you out for a year now. um, it it it's super awesome. My fiance got it for me for Christmas, and I was so pumped about it. So pumped. My daughter's like, boo boo, boo boo, boo boo. I'm like, no, baby, it takes away my boo boos. It's helping my boo boos. Because, again, the insurance thing, I can't go see a freaking chiropractor unless I want to pay a bunch of money or find a primary care physician. I don't really want to do that. So, take care of myself. Oh my god, fasting is weirdly energizing, isn't it? It's one of those things like, I don't get it. Like, when I fast, I have more energy. And as long as I could fight through the hunger feeling, then I feel so much sharper. Like if I just chug a bunch of water and I tell myself I'm good, I've been able to farm completely fasting. Like a full farm day fasting, just water and coffee. But I don't put anything in my coffee. Crazy, right? and yeah, exactly. Your cells rejuvenate while fasting. One of the things that happens too is you can actually change the pH of your body through healthy diet and fasting. And when you change the pH of your body, when you have a more alkaline environment, if you have any cancer cells growing, they're going to shrink in order to grow more or try to grow more, which they won't do well in an alkaline environment. And when they're shrinking, if you hit them with really good, if you have a really good diet, limiting inflammation, all that kind of stuff, you could just get rid of that shit. Allegedly. Not that I've helped people do that or done it myself. Ooh, tomorrow until Saturday. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Damn. All right, 48-hour fast. That's crazy. That's very crazy. Gene, you have a friend who has a whoop strap or a Shakti mat? Um, I've never done a 48-hour fast. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I've done a 24-hour fast twice, and that was mind blowing, right? When you think about it, you're like, oh, I don't need food. Ah, true. I could track my fasting. That'd be pretty cool. Hmm. I just kind of do it though. Like, but I'm weird. Like sometimes, right now I'm kind of semi in a bulking phase. Like I don't know, just in case some like weird end of the world stuff happens. I'm trying to put on some weight right now. You know what I mean? You just never know. You just never know what's gonna happen. So, in the off chance that something bad happens and we're like, I don't have power for like a month or something like that, and we got to eat less food and shit like that. Um, I want to be good, but also on the if that doesn't happen, um, if that doesn't happen, I want to get back to the gym and just turn that into muscle. 72-hour fast, that's insanity. Wow. A complete just water fast, or was it a fruit fast? I think I could probably, I should try that. I should try to do a 72-hour fruit fast. I think I could do that. Like maybe eat fruit once a day for 2 days. And then on the third day eat dinner. So like it would be like a Monday, right? So Monday into Tuesday would be one time fruit, Tuesday into Wednesday, second time's fruit, and then into the next day like a full fast. So 2 days of like a fruit fast, one day of a full fast. I think I could do that. I might try that. You've done 72 just water. Wow. Wow. I'm sure it did clear you out. Your body's like, detox. Everything out. Peeing for days. Your pee was like clearer than the water going in. You're like, what the hell? How is this more clear? Um, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love fasting. Fasting is really awesome. Fasting and meditating and breathing and microdosing, and there's so many things you could do for your mental health. Cannabis. I get I'm so happy when friends tell me that like they consider going on anxiety and bipolar and all those kinds of meds, and then found natural ways to not do it, and they feel great. You know, natural ways might not work for 100% of everybody. I think if you really, really dedicated yourself, which is hard because we're talking about diet here. Diet, people are very addicted to food, the taste of food, including myself. Fucking love Oreos. Oh my god, I'm drooling thinking about Oreos and Auntie Annie's pretzels. Some of the taste of food is so good, and I just can't. You gotta have control. That's why they make some of that food taste so good. Natural food tastes very good too once you detox your body of all the crap. And a lot of the crap doesn't taste so good once you detox your body, except Auntie Annie's pretzels. They always taste good. But the last 2 times I ate them, I literally could have fallen asleep midday. Like, energized, eat food because I'm hungry, grab a pretzel real quick, asleep, and lethargic. Awful. That's exactly what your diet could do. See, I smoke when I fast. I've done 2 24-hour fasts while smoking and while farming. It's crazy. You have no food in the house when you fast? See, if my anxiety would be going crazy. Like, what if I need it? What if I need it? Oh my God, what if I didn't plan this right? I'm burning too much calories and I'm about to pass out. I'd be awful on Naked and Afraid. I talk to my fiance about that all the time. Like, man, my partner would hate me because the one thing I would bring is probably weed. Because, like, I have, I get such bad anxiety when I just can't. If this is like the bare minimum, if I like, right now maybe I could stop smoking. I don't know, maybe, but most of the time this is the bare minimum. Without this, I have so much anxiety. I have so much just my digestive tract issues and shit. Like, just I had too much. I smoke, all good. See, so I could eat all the nasty shit you put in front of me on Naked and Afraid. So all I gotta do is learn how to start a fire. Well, build something that starts a fire, and then learn how to start a fire flawlessly. And then I need to learn how to build like an arrowhead out of a rock, and hope that my partner has a bow. And then I think I could survive. That's hilarious. Naked and Afraid. I freaking love that show. Alright, y'all. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to talk this long by myself. I kind of just showed myself something. And this is what I mean. I've been mentally sharp. Obviously, I've said a few times, but I've just talked for an hour straight. And I didn't prepare. I decided at like 2 p.m. 8 hours ago that I was I'm less high now. I'm like just medicated now. Um, I decided at like 2 o'clock that I thought I had my guest lined up for today. I think he thought it was February 20th, and so that didn't work out. And I did not want to end my streak. I'm on 10 weeks of podcasting straight, and I wanted to stay on my streak. So I said, you know what? My album that I'm wrapping up tonight, I'm finishing 100% tonight. Done. Except for the album artwork. I got to do that, which should take only a day or two. Not 6 months like my album took. I talk a lot about mental health and depression and a lot of the issues I go through, and I dive deep in one of the songs, the final song on my album. And it was hard to write about, very hard to write about. And so I was like, why don't I just talk about mental health? I feel great. I've been doing a lot more for my mental health. And let's go on here, see if anybody needs to hear this. And read your comments about the things y'all are doing. And this is important. This is important. We need to spread awareness to this and make sure that we're all good, because especially if you're a leader in within the community, you need to have your mental good, because if your mental's not good, who can your people rely on? And that was my thought. So thank you guys. Thank you. I can't even say guys. It was literally all women tonight. Thank you, ladies, for coming to watch tonight. And thank you to everybody else that's going to listen to this or watch this afterwards. You can download this and listen anywhere podcasts are available. I'm slowly catching up on all of my uploads from the past 4 months or so to make my podcast channel updated. So make sure you go subscribe to that, please, and follow me on Twitch and like the What Did Adam Say Facebook page. And as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Good vibes to you.